Hey folks, Fox here. I wanted to take a few moments to sit in front of the camera and talk a little bit about my battle reports and what I do to create them, the thought that goes into them, just what's all involved in creating these battle reports, and what I do to kind of start, edit, finish, and post. So I made a few notes, so I'm going to be referring to those a lot because I tried doing without referring to notes, and I missed things, and I kept screwing up, and I kept going, So to prevent that, we're going to try notes, which I should be doing more when I do my battle reports, because those ums are really noticeable. And sorry, guys. I guess that's just part of my stuff. So, what do? I'll usually, of course, set up a game. When I do set up a game, what I'd like to do is talk to the person beforehand, say, hey, do you mind if I record this? So you just want to make sure you ask for permission, and just make sure that they're comfortable with you filming them, filming their army, filming and recording their voice. And that's usually only if you're using the sound from the actual game itself, which most people are okay with it, but some people not so much. Some stores might have concerns about video, but most don't, so you can always touch base with the store owner too. You can really get in good with the store owner if you advertise the store's name by saying, hey, this is where I'm playing tonight. And what's nice about that is when people see your videos, they're like, hey, they play Warhammer there, cool, or they play 40K there, or they play Flames of War there, I'm going to go check that store out. And then you're going to build up your community, and you're going to get more people. And that's just from making battle reports and post them online. And there I am rambling already. So ask for permission, set up a game. Now when you're recording, there's a few things you want to think about beforehand. You don't necessarily just want to start recording, which I do have a bad habit. And a lot of these rules I try to pay attention to, but as soon as the game starts, all these little tips and tricks are thrown out the window, and I totally ignore them half the time. But I try hard to stick to them, but of course I forget a lot. So think about what you're going to be doing in regards to recording. When you choose your side, sometimes I'll choose a side that has the best lighting, just so I can get a good battle report out of it. It doesn't matter if it's got the best, tactical advantage or not. If it's got some good lighting, I'm going to probably go with that. And that's made a lot of my decisions when it comes to some of my battles. And I've lost a few battles because of poor choice, but good lighting. Another thing, so lighting, sound is also a really important thing you want to think of too. So background noise. Are there a lot of people in the area? So if you're going to be using the sound from the actual game itself, you want to think about background noise too. Another thing is where you're going to be filming from. Are you going to always be filming the game from the same perspective, which I try to do. And the reason why I do that, and I'm not always going around the table, which it works for some reports, but my reports I find I just focus on a few units and not the entire game. I give you more or less an overview of anything interesting that's happened, or any real, big things, like maybe big explosions, or just the objective of the game, what's going to happen that's really big, and then the result usually. And a lot of times I actually forget to mention who won, but for the most part it's usually pretty obvious. So that's another thing you want to take into consideration. When I do my filming, I try and make sure that I'm always starting from the same spot, so the person has a good frame of reference when you're beginning out. I'll sometimes pan always from the right corner of the table, or always start in the left corner of the table and go across the table pointing things out, just so the person at home watching has a good idea of what the board layout is. Some tables are really easy to determine, other tables not so much, because it's pretty much the same thing on each side. Background noise, lighting, panning, we did that. What your format is going to be. So like I talked about, my format is I'll do a quick intro. I won't go into depth into the armies, which some people do, and that's really cool because then you can actually learn about the armies. My reports are more about just the fun of the explosions, the models on the table, and people just having fun. I don't put a lot of detail into it, whereas other people do, and that's really cool. You actually get to see the dice being rolled. You actually get to see what units are doing what and get the proper names, unlike, mine. That's actually a good thing. Ask your opponent what their army is a little bit, so you know what units are on the table, so you can talk a little bit about them and actually say their proper name. When you guys do post both your wins and your losses. I find I learn more from losing than I do from winning. So I actually like to post my losses more, because then I can review and review and review. Other people like both the wins and losses, so they can see how units work, I had a fellow posting a little bit earlier on one of the videos saying, "Hey, your reports are really good. It gives me an idea of what I need to do to take down Eldar or Dark Eldar." So that's a really nice thing, and I like hearing stuff like that, knowing that my videos are actually helping people play games, win games, or learn a little bit more about how the armies work. When it comes to taking your time, so don't rush through it. Take your time. I have a tendency to rush because for my format, I've set for 5 minutes or less. That's how I want to make my battle reports. I always want to make sure they're very short, very quick, because I'm really busy. When I want to watch something, I want to make sure it's quick. And sometimes, yeah, I'll watch my own videos just to see, okay, this is what I did last time, and I just want a quick view of it. And other people, they're pretty busy, so they want to go through it real quick. That's fine. And then, of course, you've got your other folks that do the very long, in-depth ones, which is pretty cool. I usually save those ones till the weekend, so I have a little bit of time. And those that do the quick battle reports, I'll usually watch those ones during the week. Equipment. So you can get all kinds of different cameras, you can get all kinds of different video software and microphones and stuff. Myself, I just use an iPad 2. The HD camera's fine. It works great. I downloaded iMovie, which is fantastic. And then afterwards, as I'm in iMovie editing, I'll just do the audio dub, making notes. I'll listen to the background noise and I'll listen to the actual game progress through a few times so I can remember what was going on, and then I'll take out all the audio and then redub it. So the camera I use is the HD camera on the iPad 2. The video software I use is iMovie. I'm not trying to do this fantastically amazing thing like a lot of other people do. I'm just trying to put what I want out there for now. If I ever get a little bit of extra money, maybe I'll invest in a nicer camera and maybe some better editing software. But until then, this one seems to be working okay. Now, you don't necessarily need an HD camera, but it is something worth thinking about investing in, especially when you want to get that really nice quality video. So it's really a matter of opinion how you want your channel to progress and how you want your different reports to be seen. Editing. I try to think about how I'm going to edit the video before I even record. So I'm going to think about, I want to do it in a bunch of different blocks. So I want to do beginning of turn, end of turn, beginning of turn, end of turn, all the way through, describing what happened throughout the game. And then a little brief talk about the end. Some people do different formats, which is cool. But for myself, I like to think about how I'm going to edit that. I don't add too many like transitions or wipes or anything like that. It's just usually just straight fades or jump cuts. Nothing too special. Sound's really important. When you are talking about sound, people are watching the video. Half of it is the sound. So you want to make sure if you're dubbing, your recording is really, really, really good. So make sure you're in a quiet environment when you're dubbing. If you're doing the battle report and you're using the live sound right from the actual event, then you want to make sure that you are talking nice and clearly and the people can hear you. And if not, think about different ways that you can improve that. Music, some people add music and stuff like that. Remember copyright laws. I got hit with that quite a few times when I first started out, but for the most part, there's a lot of really good websites that have some really good free music. And you just need to like mention their name in your credits. And speaking of credits, title cards. People do some really cool title cards, mention what's going on, what to expect. There's some people out there just have some incredible talent. For myself, I'll just do a basic title card and maybe the location I'm at, and then I'll put the Fire Breathing Duck Productions at the end usually. I've been slacking on that because I'm trying to work up to getting my logo wherever it went. I had a logo like 3 or 4 years ago and I can't seem to find it. It was this cute little duck with flames. Yeah, for the most part, that's what I wanted to really talk about. There is one other thing I wanted to make mention. I kind of briefly talked about it just at the very beginning, and that's panning and zooming in. Now, when you guys are video taping, recording, whatever you want to call it, your battle reports, think about how the person is going to view it. And when you're panning across the table, make sure you take your time and move slowly. It might not seem very quickly to you, but to a person watching the video, they're not expecting where the camera is going to go or what it's going to focus on. So add an extra 2 or 3 seconds to everything that you do. So if you're panning, slow down by a second or two. When you're focusing on something, slow down for a second or two. This is something I'm still struggling with. I think I've got the slow down, and I think I've got steadiness a little bit better than I did at the beginning, and that's definitely something I need to work on. And of course, remembering what different types of units are, and remembering who won the game. That's another thing. But for the most part, remember, pan slowly, zoom in slowly, zoom out slowly, and concentrate on what you're focusing on in each turn. But overall, I think that's it. I hope this has helped you guys get a better insight into what happens behind the scenes when it comes to my videos, or at least the battle reports. Steady camera, slow pans, slow zoom ins, a nice HD camera, or just something that films really nicely. Lighting is really important. And to be honest, you can have the best camera in the world, the best microphone, the best editing software. If you're moving too fast and the camera's shaking all about, no one's going to know what the heck's going on, no matter how clear it is. So, unless you have one of those really, really cool cameras that absorb a lot of the shaking and shocks, and then you really don't have to worry about it. But anyways, with that said, this is Fox. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take her easy.